Alright, Shalom Akim. Right, back out here again, through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem outside, I'm trying to give myself rather more um, the things, the information, data, whatever words you want to use to describe the information that's being pushed out there by some of these alternative new media streams. And there's all kind of things popping off right now, and we're actually nearing the end of this thing. And that's why the scripture says in Romans, the 13th chapter and the 11th verse, is saying, and that knowing this time, that the time that now is nigh, time to awake out of sleep, for the salvation is nearer than we believed, right? And this is the times that we're in right now. We're in the time where, uh, um, we're being, not only are we having rumors of war, military strategies are being put forth by different countries to where, war could have broken up before this video has been even uploaded. Alright? And as it stands right now, the Most High's got it to where, just like how he prophesied in the scriptures, that the war was going to pop off right in the Middle East, like the scripture says. Right? It's going to pop off against, America and against the world, like the scripture says. Babylon against the world, like the scripture says. To where this man's going to get himself destroyed because of the pride in his heart. Right? And that's why the scripture says the pride of the heart goes before destruction. Right? Because it's the pride of the Most I put in this man's heart that leads him to this, leads him to do, and you're going to see some of the strategies that this man's played for him to try and get the birthright, like the scripture says, because this is all about the birthright, right? Birthright that was given to Jacob as opposed to Esau, because the Most High had it set up, right? Because the Most High is controversial, right? Most High is controversial, right? Most High set it up that the younger was going to get the blessing, right? And it grieves this man that Jacob is the supplanter, right? And he's the one that that has the royal what's the words I'm looking for here? The royal blessing to inherit this earth, right? To be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai, which we know is the Lord, right? And we're gonna see it right here in the article. This is from Press TV, called U.S. deployed nuke force before Syria crisis, right? So basically, in that title, you kind of see what the article's about, because essentially what the article title says is that the deployment of nuclear forces was done before the Syria crisis was done. In other words, the retaliation that was going to be put into effect, right, as a response to the the Syria crisis was already done before the Syria crisis begins. In other words, the Syria crisis was a hoax in accordance to this article. And we know this man, that's how he's always worked, right? This man, I wouldn't say sacrifice, but he basically destroyed all of the people that was, working up in so-called Twin Towers, right, for, to put some legislations in place. Right, because this man, the rest of the people that are not of the elite banking families, they're just pawns on the chessboard to this man, right? But who's, if you want to think about it, we're the black side of that chessboard, right? And really, the pawns that are on our chessboard, right? That's the 2/3 which the Most High is going to get rid of anyways, right? And the important pieces already been put in place. Where if you got the men of the Lord out there pushing this truth, right, through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, telling this man, like the scripture says, standing in the great boldness before such as have afflicted them. And that's what we're about, man. Right? Standing before the people that have afflicted us and telling them, look, you're going to go into slavery no matter what you think. Right? Now we scroll down a little bit. I'm going to keep this nice and short. Right? Get into this a little bit. Read it as fast as I can. I mean, you can find this on Press TV. It's called U.S. deployed nuke force before Syria crisis, and I'm just going to read a little bit of it. Keep it nice and short. It says, if you are aware, but the United States and Russia are on a high nuclear alert, right? And that's heavy that they said few are aware of that. right? Because it's only the people at the top that nuclear, and you see it in your movies, man, right? Before nuclear deployment is launched, right? They don't even tell the people that are on there. They're in those countries. You see it in all kind of movies, man. Right? You see it oh man, all kind of films where they say, "Oh, you're gonna destroy this amount of people just for this or that and the third," right? And they don't ever tell the people that are in that particular town, right, or that particular country. And here you have it. They don't tell the people that are in the world that you're going to destroy. You're going to destroy it. They're on high nuclear alert. Actually, it says if you are aware of that, right? And it says since the missile training incident in the Mediterranean, right? It says with imminent. Let me zoom in for you guys. Right? It says with the imminent threat of nuclear war and the preliminary decision by the Senate Foreign Relations Committee to support not just a missile campaign but act directly in support of Al Qaeda forces inside Syria, a significant number of military leaders have lost all faith in their command structure. Alright, and it says, this is in the second paragraph, it says, strangely, moves against pro-democratic forces in the military were actually made prior to what has been the drastic turnaround in the U.S. since U.S. policy since 9/11. And this is where it gets meaty, right? It says solid evidence from within the intelligence community confirms that the U.S., Britain, and France knew of the August 21st sarin attacks in advance, right? And if you didn't know that by now, man, you're slipping, right? And this is what it's talking about. Basically, those sarin attacks. It's a chemical attack where with 1,300 people have killed. And if you can't quantify 1,300, think of 1,000. Think about how, if you've ever seen, for instance, 100 cows or 100 dogs, right? All right. Or if you ever been to a concert, how many people were at that concert, right? 1,300 people was a large number of people, right? And these were people that were killed, notwithstanding the people that were injured, right? So so in accordance to this this article right here in Press TV, right, of which the number was a little higher is much higher than 1,300. Right. In accordance to this article here, it says more evidence, including intercepted emails, show that the top Pentagon intelligence officials were actively involved in the planning of the attack of 1,300 people, right, within Syria, right. And it says Israel's July submarine attack, one mirrored this week, as a test was intended to disable the Syria's P-800 Yehud anti-missiles, right, capable of destroying America's guided missile destroyers. And this is America's guided missile destroyers, right here, right. And let me see if I got the P-800 already loaded up. No, I ain't got that loaded up, but it's essentially a missile, right? It's just a missile, right? It says, alright, and it says, and this is just more evidence of the moves that America has made to where with it, you can it's evident that they set up the attack, right? Which is what I said in the previous video, right? And it says there is a clear evidence that the U.S. moved and restructured major nuclear commands, predicting both the nuclear confrontation we see with Russia over Syria and a possible mutiny with the U.S. forces. Right, so they basically moved all their nuclear arsenal in such a way that if there was a confrontation with Russia as a result of invading Syria, right, it's already in place. So what are we waiting for? Right, you might as well, you might as well just go up in there, man. Most I have is that, right? Because the pieces are in play. Right, we're just waiting for the stroke of a pen, the pressing of a button before this all kicks off. Right, and it says this was done before the Syrian gassing incident. Evidence that a retaliation missile attack on Syria was planned before there was anything to retaliate against. right? And we see two nuclear bomber wings relocated and put directly under the White House command, and over 2,000 nuclear weapons, 2,000 nuclear weapons, right? 2,000 nuclear weapons, right, have been illegally moved, stored in an old submarine base, right? And pretty much, you know, that's the pretty much the gist of it. Nuclear arsenals have moved, right? And you know, moves have been made such that if a retaliation was to take place, right, that you know, they're basically ready for it. And let's get into the scriptures. Like I said, it's going to be a nice short one, right? And what we're looking at here. There's a precept I want here. Let's go back. Right, here we go. This is Proverbs 16:4. It says, the Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. So the Most High set it up, right? And like the scripture says also, you know, the Most High is a just balance, where if he works both on the left hand side and the right hand side, where if you got, like I say all the time, you know, from GM, for the elders in GMS on down, right? From elder, you know, from elder to all right on down to the littlest brother out here, the Most High's got his right hand working with him, and from the top elite banking families right on down to the, you know, the most insignificant Edomite out there. The Most High's got his left hand working, right, until, you know, until balance is achieved, so to speak. And balance in this sense is righteousness being, you know, righteousness overshadowing wickedness, right? And this is Revelations 12th chapter and the 12th verse, and it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell therein, or to the inhabitants of the earth, right, and the earth and the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he hath but a short time, right? That's what this man's feeling to do, because he knows he has a short time, so he's feeling to go all out right now. That's why he's got 2,000 nuclear weapons. Right, he's got 2,000 nuclear weapons, right, waiting to destroy, right? And this is Psalms 58:1. It says, do ye indeed speak in righteousness, O congregation? Do ye speak uprightly, O ye sons of men? Right? It says, yea, in heart ye work wickedness, and that's what this man's doing. He killed supposedly killed 1,400 people so he can invade Syria, and much more than that. We'll go back to 9/11, right, and even more so than that, the captivity of Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Right, and it says, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. Right, and it says, the wicked are estranged from the womb; they go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies. Right. And that's what you have on the media, like they're speaking lies, telling you and leading you to believe that this whole Syria thing is genuine, right? When it's all a lie, right? It says their poison is like the poison of the serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoopeth her air, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers, and that charming never so wisely. It says, break their teeth, which is their power, as we know, or God, or Most High, right, in their mouth. Break out the teeth of the young lions, O Lord, right. Let them melt away as the waters, which run continually. And when he bendeth his bow to shoot, let them be cut as in pieces. Right. It says, and this is the 8th verse. And it says, as the snail which melteth, let every one of them pass away, and which is what's going to happen to Esau soon. Right, he's going to be completely, you know, annihilated. Right, he's going to be eradicated from the face of the earth. Right, it says, all right, before your ports fill the thorns. As the snow melts away, let every one of them pass away, like the untimely birth of a woman. That they may not see the sun. Before your pots can fill the thorns, right? He shall take them away, right? As the whirlwind, both living and in his wrath. He says the righteous, and this is talking about us, right? The righteous shall see it. The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. So we're gonna rejoice when we see this man get brought down, because there's no way that America is gonna go up against the world, right? Go up against the world, right? And go up against the Most High, and he's gonna come out, come out and win. There's no way again how Esau's gonna go against the world and he's gonna win. Alright, that's why it says the righteous, which is Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, more so the ones of the elect. Right, we're gonna rejoice when we see this man go down. Right, the righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked, so that a man shall say, verily there is a reward for the righteous. Verily, he is a God that judgeth the earth. Right, and like I said, it's gonna be a real short one. Right, as we see, moves being made, man. Time to, stay on point, so to speak. And really, this is about prayer now. You gotta pray that the Most High forgives you for your iniquity. Right, has mercy on you in the day of His wrath. Right, and pretty much with that said, we're gonna sign out and say, double on this the LSA GMS on the sheep others that be pushing this truth into Syria. We're almost out here. Shalom.